under high pressure becomes diamond. Similarly, those who know how to deal with the stress, their personality also will dazzle like diamond. So why we are not able to? So what is the topic is really the mind. People don't understand what is mind. We will have some idea, hopefully, by the time we complete this session, we will have some idea that what is mind. Okay. Let's start you can see here, 1 in every 8 individuals worldwide suffers from a mental disorder. World Health Organization 2022. 1 in 8. That means if there are 50 students here, at least 7 are, according to these statistics, 7 are in mental distress. Mental health illness as of now is 15% of the global disease burden. 15%. And teens who spend 5 hours daily on their mobile devices are 51% more likely to have inadequate sleep. This is the source bank myself. Survey. Pew Research Center says 56% teens feel lonely, anxious, or upset when they do not have their phones with them. This is a new phenomenon. When we did our PhD, we didn't know what is email. Forget about mobiles. Right? Our best, I still remember in IIT Delhi, at 8 o'clock, not 8, 7 o'clock, we will cycle from IIT Delhi to Connaught Place and watch movies. Because we don't have this burden of having a mobile and indulging things alone. Right? To remain alone is a curse. And so about 70% to 80% of persons in India struggling with mental illness receive no care. NIMHANS 2016 report. 5.6 crore Indians suffer from depression and 3.8 crore from anxiety disorder. This data from NIMHANS report is underestimated because in India, mental illness is always a taboo. Because people may immediately declare that you are a father. So a very tough situation. So people hide it. Teens who spend too much time on social media face 27% increased risk of depression. India will lose 1 trillion in economic value owing to mental health issues between 2012 to 2030. $1 trillion. So you can recognize that how serious this. We have all. I collected these statistics in 2023 beginning, right? And every year you get new and new things. Now I would like to tell you a story. There are 2 stories. One story is I have directed. Another is a foundation of mind, the founder. This story, and in fact, he has written a book on this. Let me tell my story first. My story is 3.5 years back. One fellow from Montreal, he is an Indian, but doing his postdoctoral studies in Montreal, called me and said, I am dysfunctional. I can't do anything. I need help. I said, if you need help, then you must do what I said. He said, I am ready to do. I said, then you come to India. And I brought him to Vrindavan, where I run a guru. And there is a Goshala. So I told my friend Srinivas, take all his gadgets, everything you take away, and give him a schedule. Every day at 8 o'clock he'll go to sleep. And early morning 4 o'clock he'll wake up. And then in the schedule there are some services in Goshala, taking care of the cows, his own reading, meditation, all those schedule was met for him. When he came, his weight was 116 kilo. He could not, 116 kilo, but he could not lift a basket of cow dung. He could not walk more than 100 meters. But in 3 months, his weight became little above 80, 81, 82. In 3 months. And he was circumambulating our 100-acre campus 10 times a day. And he was alright. In contrast, I had my own PhD student here at IIT Kanpur. He went through mental dysfunctionality. In fact, he would come and say varieties of things to me, and people, the students in the lab, they were very much scared. And but we both went through this medication, allopathic medication. Situation didn't improve. All that I had to do is that I had to tell one of my students to write his thesis, and someone should get a PhD. Because we don't have, mechanism to handle such cases within the institutional framework. Now the second story is of a very celebrated artist now in France. She went through such kind of mental disorder. And the allopathy doctors, they said, is a hopeless case. But this foundation of mind director, Corners, he dealt with this girl who was almost declared dysfunctional to the organic farm in Ireland. And through certain daily schedule there, she became all right. Now she is carrying out PhD plus a celebrated artist. You know that France is known for arts. Just like Britishers are known for trading, and Germans are known for science and technology. Similarly, the French people are known for arts. So there are many, many examples. But this stories I told you to let you know, most of us lack the holistic understanding of the life. The harmonious configuration of body, mind and consciousness is lacking within our curriculum, within our way of life. And hence, we are becoming more and more inefficient and unproductive. So if you see, that our understanding of mind, body, consciousness is very poor. And the way that to really make it happen is spiritual connection, which is missing. In 2008 August, I was a guest professor in ETH Zurich, and I suddenly found a message through email that our honorable president, the then president, Abdul Kalamji, is visiting Switzerland, and he is going to give a talk in ETH. So obviously I was very excited. I went, and he gave a talk on Pura. Pura means putting urban amenities in rural areas. That was his way of looking at making India a good place. So there he outlined many of his things that needs to be done for this. So there are 5-point program, and 5th point program is we have everything, but we are not connected spiritually. So everything will become zero. And this particular fact has been now recognized by the governing bodies like United Nations as well. And hence they are bringing people who are from a spiritual background to tackle this problem that we are discussing. But this spiritual connection is something assumed that it is beyond empiric scientific study, right? However, we can study the effect because consciousness, as enunciated in Mundaka Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, and many other allied literature in India, is something that doesn't follow the laws of space and time. You are a conscious being, I am a conscious being, and consciousness animates all forms of bodies, from plants to birds to insects, everything. And that is the reason, because consciousness is the undeniable truth within all of this existence, we are not even able to produce a blade of grass in a laboratory. I can give you $1 trillion, but you can't produce even a blade of grass. So that's something for us to ponder. What is this consciousness? And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that it cannot be destroyed, it cannot be burnt, it cannot be cut into pieces, and so forth. It has properties that is beyond physical laws. But we can study the effect of consciousness on body and mind empirically. I will show you some of the very interesting results that we have got, and just one recent one got accepted in scientific reports. I have not put it because this is a very old slide. So the idea here is we are all spiritual beings and we need to be connected spiritually to varieties of life forms under the umbrella of one spiritual whole. That means if you look at the entire system as a whole and recognize we are a part, and we must know how to play the role of a part while not disturbing the holistic framework. And I'll tell you a story. So I say, this is a place, completely barren place. You can see this lane was completely salty. Salt. When it rains, you will see all these white patches. So what is this place? I purchased this land, 100 acres of land. I told you the Gurukul, the same Gurukul. I purchased this land in 2012 to establish a group. And what happened? When we purchased this, I didn't realize, because we wanted to purchase 100 acres. You know, you go anywhere, you can get half a bigha, 1/4 of a bigha, maybe maximum 1 acre, not 100 acres. It's very tough. To get 100 acres, I have to go to a place I didn't realize, neither I had purchased the land before. But when I purchased this land, it was completely alkaline. The district agriculture officer, the soil conservationist, we consulted them, they said nothing can happen here, nothing will grow. And except they said you add some gypsum and let's see, something can be done. But the same unusable land, according to the modern experts, looks so green now. This land has now more than 5,000 big trees. Neem, Arjun, Amla, Jamun, you tell, all kind of trees, Chiku, Anna, all trees. We grow wheat, rice, all kind of vegetables, because this land is, in this land we have 400 students. It's a boarding school starting from grade 1 to grade 12. Now we have started a Mahavidyalaya, and in 2 years we are going to establish a university. Right? But this was here, like this. So what is the story here? How we went from here to here? There is a story. Story is, when we went there, there was nothing. Nothing was growing, no grass, of course, because it's salty land, only some thorny bushes. And when we planted our the plants in the rainy season, they all will die. They won't survive. Probably we must have planted more than 2,000 trees and nothing survived. So what we did, I sent one of my colleagues to a camp that was happening in Banaras University that time by Subhash Palekarji, and he was teaching how you can make a land fertile. And my friend went, learned, and implemented exactly the same. So what did he do? You see, there are microbes in the cow dung. Microbes in the cow dung. If you take 1 kilo of cow dung, you will have 10 to the power 4 to 10 to the power 5 microbes. So, the idea is that you have to proliferate these microbes and they must grow in the land. And the axiom is if they live there, automatically the land will be alright. That is the hypothesis. Now, every 15 days, you have to have lot of microbes. For example, 10 to the power 4 or 5 microbes should become 10 to the power 20. That is the order. That means you require almost 10 to the power 15 kgs of cow dung to get that much microbe. And nobody can have that. 10 to the power 15 kilo. This is unimaginable, right? So he made a formula. Formula is you take 200 liters of water, put 1 kg of cow dung in that, only 1 kg. 1 liter of cow urine, because cow urine has a very nice property that doesn't allow outside bacteria to enter inside the system. Okay? That means it protects its own bacteria, that's those microbes which are inside. And you add some 1 kg jaggery, 1 kg besan powder, chana powder, and what happens in 72 hours, this 10 to the power 4 microbes, they proliferate, their numbers grow, and they attain the level of 10 to the power 20. Now, huge microbes you go and sprinkle in the field. Of course, you have to put little Dharjivamruta means the calf, right? Put a little bit because they have to also survive in the beginning because the land is very soil. And we have to do this every 50 days. We have to go and sprinkle this. Now what happened? Because these microbes went and lived in the soil, there was a food chain started. We saw earthworms, quechua. Naturally they do. Once quechuas came, earthworms, what brought in that ecosystem? What came? Can anybody guess? Frogs, meadow. And once meadows came, what next? Snakes. There was not a single snake. Now, many snakes. But they don't bite. Nobody has been bitten by a snake. But we saw how ecosystem works. How everybody is connected to each other. Okay? And then, when the yield time comes, you sprinkle jaggery water, whether it is arar dal, mustards, you sprinkle jaggery water and you will see the humming of the bees. More bees, more pollination, more yield. These are all so natural. But we want to look at the world within the four walls without ever having the experience of the real world. So this is what I was saying, the holistic framework where we are all interconnected. We all depend on each other. But let me tell you that as human, they don't depend on us, but we depend on them. The ecology can survive without us, but we cannot survive without it. But now, because of this lack of this understanding, we have destroyed our ecology. And there are so many problems. And that's because lack of spiritual understanding. The harmonizing nature of the existence. The varieties of forms, life forms are there. They are supposed to complement each other. We cannot create an environment where we would like to survive at the expense of others. Completely rejected. So, anyway, so this is what I was telling. We are all spiritual beings and we need to be connected spiritually to varieties of life forms under the umbrella of one spiritual whole. This is a very big concept. Now, let's come to the little scientific understanding of mind, body, and consciousness. So, who you are? Is this only made up of flesh, bone, blood, and cell? Is it? Or something more than that? You see, this table doesn't perceive its environment. Neither this lectural complex. But you perceive. If I look at only this in terms of flesh, bone, and blood and cell, this is also made up of atoms and molecules. No distinction. But you have a perceptual space. You are perceiving smell, taste, form, touch, sound, emotion, concept, the identities. All these you are experiencing that the inert matter cannot experience. So this perceptual space we do not understand. And this perceptual space in a subtle level is consisting of mind, body and consciousness. Right? So I have already told you, this is what you experience. Where do you experience within? The perceptual space is within. I don't experience the world outside. The world is experienced within my perceptual space. For example, for me, I am here, and what is my perceptual space here? I see all of you, and we are here to engage in some kind of discourse. And at the same time, an ant is here, and it is looking, where is the switch? Everyone's perceptual, same world, but different, everybody. Suppose a thief is sitting somewhere here. So what is doing? He's not interested in this thought. What is he? What are the things he can see here? He's making a nice plan. So everybody's perceptual world is different. Try to understand this. Right? And that perceptual world is based on your consciousness, level of consciousness. How elevated you are. Based on that, you look at the world. Right? So if you look at here, will give you some idea what you are. So you see, this big one is your gross body. When I say gross body means the body where you experience sound, touch, smell, taste, form, these things that you experience in this body. Right? Then there is a subtle body, which is very subtle, that you can't see, I can't see possibly, but people, those who practice yoga, meditation, they can feel it. And there you experience, in this body, you experience emotion, concept, right? For example, this body is called Annamaya Kosha. And this body will perish if you don't eat. Right? Whereas this body, that is consisting of three things. Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Vijnanamaya Kosha. Sukma Sarira. And then you, yourself, the Atman, the consciousness, Karana Sarira, which is Anandamaya Kosha, which is Satchitananda. So this is what our literature describes. Unfortunately, within medicine, biology, we are only studying at best this Annamaya Kosha. And we have no idea, even these three. There are 72,000 pranic channels. How many? 72. 36,000 this side, 36,000 this side. These pranic channels, they generate from mind. From mind. Mind is entangled with the body, or Sukma Indriya, through these 72,000 channels. That's why Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali says pranayama. Okay? Because many of time you will see your even breathing is very irregular. Means most likely you will fall sick. You don't have a regular breathing. This is a big topic, let's not go into details of that, but the idea here is that you see there are different levels of understanding of yourself. And this is a much more rigorous idea of yourself where there is a divine sound through which you connect yourself to the super soul. And there is less divine sound, but still a sound that can purchase you. So that is between subtle body and soul body, subtle body and yourself. And there is a sound that communicates between gross body and subtle body, it's called Madhyama. And these are 4 categories of sound. And sound that I am talking to you is Behera, the gross sound that you understand. Okay? So, this idea, I will just explain to you a little bit. So what is this mind? Just like you understand energy. Mind is a very subtle energy, but it is not an inert energy. It is an active energy. It is semantic energy. This energy is not like electrical energy or mechanical energy or electromechanical energy. No. And this energy is in one place here in your body, but that pervades throughout your body. If your mind is, this energy is healthy, then your whole body will be healthy. If this energy becomes sick, even if you have a very good physique, it will become automatically sick. So how this operates? When mind contemplates on the pure conscious agent that you are, it derives the positive energy. And when mind contemplates on the body, it derives negative energy. This is simple formula. More you contemplate on your own, just like the scientists are contemplating on the nature of atom, molecules, cells. More than that, we need to also contemplate what we are. For example, if you look at the Schrodinger's book, What is Life? So he is contemplating. In fact, in What is Life, he refers to Upanishads many times while contemplating on the nature of life. So that contemplation derives positive energy. So how that happens? Through satsanga. Those who are elevated in their consciousness, associating with them, asking them questions, meditation, regularly doing some activity in organic form. There is a university in Agra, Dayalbag Educational Institute. If you go there, everybody, it is a 1500-acre campus, there everybody in the early morning, from small kid to the old, they go to the field and do some physical, they are engaged in some kind of physical labor. So, yoga, community service, Gaushala, there are varieties of Indian art forms. Classical dance, classical ragas, practicing those things. Okay? We had very, very profound, people like we were working, we have started in IIT Mandi, a program on music and musiopathy. How music can heal the mind. Right? And we have done some research, I will also show you that. So you can see this one we did here at IIT Kanpur. In fact, I invited one professor professor of sleep, Dr. Arpita Priyadarshini. And we organized her talk, and there were more than almost 300 students were participating. She explained how many sleep disorders are there. And after explaining, she asked, how many of you have at least one of these disorders? Then she found out, but at last, everybody literally raised their hand. Everybody has some kind of sleep disorder. Because once you have sleep disorder, you are not sufficiently rested. When you don't feel rested, either you feel sleepy throughout the day, or you feel demotivated in doing action, whatever you want to do, and so many other things that happens. So we did an experiment here. You see, this is in your sack, old sack. It is no more there, right? This is an old sack. I used to conduct this program where I used to administer guided meditation, okay, devotional meditation, and all of them, there were around 55 subjects were there, and all of them had insomnia. Insomnia means you can't you easily wake up in the night, you don't have a good sleep, you lack of sleep. So you can see here, 80% of the subject experienced 32% decrease in total arousal. And that only because it's very tough to do an experiment for a longer time. And these people have done this only for 2 weeks. Right? This 2 weeks result, 32% decrease in total arousal, a larger post-treatment sleep efficiency value for HM means Hare Krishna Mahamantra, BCT means Behavior Cognitive Therapy. A significant increase in the mean percent REM sleep score in the group, because there are control group. When you do such experiment, you all similar patients you convert into two groups. One where you administer what we get, the intervention. The other we kept them clean up, but we took their care. So what is REM sleep? REM sleep, because every day when you work, your emotional needs are not fulfilled, your desires are not fulfilled, many things are within. Okay. So when you go to sleep, those unwanted or unfulfilled desires and varieties of things, they kind of burst out in the form of dream. Right? Plus, REM means rapid eye movement. REM means rapid eye movement, and there are a lot of studies in this that during that time there is also repair of your circuitry, neural circuitry. Okay? And we also noticed a decreased daytime sleepiness in the intervention group. Hare Krishna Mahamantra Best Behavior Cognitive Therapy. So this is published in Applied Psychophysio Biofeedback Journal. You can see these are all work in IIT Kanpur. I was telling about music, right? So here, one experiment we use Rag Garwari for cognitive enhancement, and second is Mr. Jogia Rag for emotional coping. That means when you have gone through very tough situation, like your near and dear ones have died, or you have lost, you have not done well in your examination. So many where you are not able to cope. your emotion. So what we did, those who are not able to focus on studies, your book is in your hand but you are not able to study. So we administered them Raghavan. And those who are going through emotional turbulence, we gave them Mishra Jogia. This is a melancholy raga. Right? And what we found, experiment 1, according to finding of study, Raghavari can help bust stress. Ease of concentration goes up, improves thoughtfulness, the time in taking decision reduces. But interesting thing here, and in experiment 2, when the other group, they listen to Mishra Jogia Raga, this enhances their alertness and processing of shared emotion and memories. Hoping the effects are not simply due to the aesthetic appeal of the music, as previously believed, but an inherent property of the said music that were administered. But what is it? In essence, the science of it. Science of it is that when you are in a stressful situation, if you look at your brain network, what we found out, they are all talking to each other. Occipital lobe is talking to amygdala is talking to cortex. And if you look at it, it's a vicious network. Everybody is talking to each other. Imagine there is a class and everybody talks to each other. What will happen? It's a noise. And that was happening. But when we administered this, immediately everything became silent. Only that portion of the brain that is necessary to be activated got activated. So this is the science that I'm not telling, but you can see, you can go through these papers in scientific reports and +1 about these reports. So this is done in IIT Kanpur only. So when I went to IIT Mandi, one of the first interdisciplinary center that I established is Indian Knowledge System and Mental Health Application. Because during the COVID, because before I went, we were suffering from COVID, right, the entire country. And I have seen how people were, the mental stress had really increased. So this center, the main thing is, theme is mind, brain and consciousness study in a holistic framework. And we do interventions such as meditation, yoga, performing arts, Ayurveda. In fact, recently, one of our group headed by Varun Dutt and his team, they have developed an intervention technique that has been accepted as an intervention technique by an international forum where they were scrutinizing which is the best, right? So it's thousands of interventions technique were provided, and their technique is really working on practice. So, and you see here, what are the things that we are studying? Origin of cognitive matter. What is mind? Okay, the element of mind. How do you study it? We have studied matter in the form of atom, molecule and cells, but what is mind? Bio switches for consciousness. Right? I will just tell you, this paper also got accepted in scientific reports about how can we study the biomarker of consciousness through the administration of the anesthesia. All of you heard about anesthesia, right? When you go through surgery, anesthesia is applied, right, before they do. So we are doing those kind of studies. One of the things that is lacking within our mental health framework is laws of psychology. Nobody knows what is laws of psychology. Okay? So, according to Vedanta, laws of psychology is superset of your laws of biology, physics, chemistry, etc. Okay. And earlier people used to laugh because when our people used to say mind is more fundamental than anything else, the Nobel laureate, Stuart Hamrock, Christoph Koch, all these big shots. Christoph Koch is the co-researcher with the kid who got the Nobel Prize. So they have now started saying that we have to accept mind is a more fundamental element existing within us. But unfortunately, because they are saying, we have to accept. What we will be. Why can't we say it? Why we have to look at them that they have to say? So these are things that we have to, and in fact, we Indians can contribute. This is a golden opportunity. Just like beginning of 20th century with quantum mechanics, things got revolutionized. Similarly, now with the idea of cognitive matter, this century will be revolutionized. Can we contribute? This is a question. So just to give you a little bit things, how last century we saw. We started here. We were told these are all elementary truth. Hydrogen, helium, nitrogen, all these things, they are all elementary truth. They combine. They combine in a manner that life forms come. Right? So they are the elementary. But later, this idea was discarded because we found out these elementary truths can be formulated using one electron and two quarks. That is one proton and one neutron in different electronic configuration. Right? So then, these were discarded. And then, it's not there anyway. So, and then we started saying this is what is the fundamental. If you go to the YouTube, there is a very nice talk by David Tom. Okay, he's a very famous professor, and he revisits the scientific evolution that happened. And from one electron, two quarks, we went to quantum field, and then standard model. And that standard model also has some problem, and people are trying to create a patchwork. This is going on, right? So, but if you look at our viewpoint that's there within our Indian literature and Indian knowledge system, what is cognitive matter? This, if I have to teach you, this is very tough to cover this course. But you see here, you are the Purusa, the conscious self. And its reflection is Chitta. Chitta means your consciousness. And this is a perverted consciousness, not your consciousness, but perverted consciousness. Why perverted? Because this consciousness is you have if you take interest in matter. But you can get away with this consciousness if you rejoice within yourself. That is yourself. So when you see an apple, so there are varieties of levels of processing. That is your sensory perception, different sensory perception of the world. But ultimately the perception is happening through chitta. That is the consciousness. I have the consciousness. That consciousness makes me to see things. That makes me aware of things that I am perceiving. Right? So if we look at a little bit of mathematics here, so this is atomic conscious unit. This is also a unit of energy, but this is pure cognitive energy. This is matter, but this is also cognitive because of its association with this. So this is pure cognitive agent. This is induced cognitive agent. And then your body, being entangled with the mind, acts as if cognitive. So this is not cognitive, but this is cognitive. You hit here, it feels. But this is made up of matter. So how this is attaining the status of cognition? Being self-aware. So the flow is this. The moment, suppose I say, I'm speaking to you and you are lost listening, then suddenly I am in a heart attack. Finished. Same body. Everything is there. No more cognition. You will take this body and take to the crematory. Finished. But as long as I am there, then this induced cognitive matter, this matter behaves like, it has cognitive property, and that also induces in turn cognition in the body. So this is something that we need to understand. And so what are kind of research that we can do in understanding mind? First is, we can't study mind as it is. But everything in our body is entangled with mind. All of you understand entanglement, right? Like quantum entanglement. You know, the last year's, previous year's Nobel Prize went for quantum entanglement. So mind entangled matter, which we say cognitive matter. That means there is a difference between this living body and this. We need to first bring out that different distinction. How this body is different from this body. So this is cognitive matter. This is not mere matter. And this is the distinction between Ayurveda and allopathy. Ayurveda treats this body as a cognitive matter, whereas allopathy treats this body as a pure matter. There is a fundamental distinction. Right? So, where does mind entangle with the body? Can we figure out? Investigation into bioswitches for consciousness is one area of empiric research. So you see, M stands for mind, B stands for body. And this is, when I put them together, that is cognitive matter. Okay? So, we need to also understand models of entangled body. That is, idea of semantic space and relevant mathematics are required to develop such models. In fact, Jyotiranjan is not here. Dr. Jyotiranjan Behera is working with me at IIT Mandi. He is a PhD from IIT UK. He just submitted a paper on how the perceptual entanglement, that is perceptual entanglement, that means in your perception, you want to do things, you don't want to do things, you want to follow someone, you don't want to follow someone, all this kind of perceptual actions can really generate physical action. So people think it is physical action leads to perceptual action. That's wrong. You think first, ideas are generated first. Perceptual actions are first. For example, this building was not generated simply by some mechanized process of bringing bricks and chairs together. No. The idea of this building was within the mind of the architect who designed this building in the pen and paper. Then it was given to the builder who created this building. Right? So this perceptual action in the perceptual space leads to the action in the physical space. So this kind of research we can do, and a lot of things can be done. Study of reincarnation, because this is very important within Indian knowledge system. Once you understand, for example, Roger Penrose and Stuart Hambro's theory is that consciousness is incomputable. If consciousness is incomputable, not degradable, not destroyable, then it is always existing. If it is always existing, then the reincarnation is a possibility. So we need to study this. Of course, these things many people are doing, not only in India, outside India. Everybody is doing the Indian knowledge system, such as satsanga, yoga, meditation, Ayurveda, organic farming, community service, these interventions for the mental health. So these are different kind of research that we are carrying out and we can do, but I will just show you. This is the recent paper that has been accepted in scientific reports. Very interesting. How many of you have gone through some form of surgery? Please raise your hand. So you are administered with anesthesia? Yes? Did you have consciousness that time? So you did have consciousness, right? Now, people think, I took the anesthesia and did the surgery and come back. But what happens during the anesthesia? So we did very, very detailed study, and still studies going on, but this is a part of our scientific reports thing. So these are different kind of anesthesia that were administered. And you can see here the cells, within the cells, these are all nucleus. These nucleus were, when anesthesia were not administered, then the nucleus were ran down. But the same nucleus were ordered. You can see there is a good amount of order. Plus, you see here, this is if you go very close, you take a very close image, you see inside the nucleus there is nothing. That means all the organelles within the nucleus are dead, destroyed by the effect of anesthesia. You think, I have taken anesthesia. No. Your mitochondria is gone, ATP is gone, things are all gone. Not only that, this chromatin, which was in the center of the nucleus at this in this situation, that has come to the periphery. Okay? So what we found out, that when you give the anesthesia, many of the organelles within the cell they die or they are destroyed. Right? What has survived? Because we are only looking at a microscope whose power is 100x. Right? And if you want to use much bigger power microscope, you may see even. But as of now, with this microscope, we could see only the nucleus that survives. Everything is almost getting destroyed. Right? But interestingly, what is happening, that when you take out the anesthesia, then all the organelles that have died, they are regenerated. They are regenerated. So what causes them to regenerate? Is consciousness. If it is there, then that will be regenerated. Is not there? Suppose we have done this experiment, we have gone to the next level, where we gave the anesthesia for 8 hours. And then we saw if these cells that die more than 40%, then regeneration stops. That means there is death. Okay? So this kind of studies tells us in detail what's happening regarding. So what is the biomarker now? Obviously we are looking at that as of now nucleus along with the chromatin, they survive. They are the biomarker. Very gross level of biomarker consciousness. That means if they are there, consciousness can use them to regenerate other vital organelles within the cell so that your body can survive. Right? These are all details I know. I'll just show you a very interesting work is going on here. So you can see here. Why is it not good? So you can see here. Can you see this? This is a single egg of a C elements, and cell division is happening. So first 2, then 4, 8, cell division is happening. So my student, he is already doing this experiment. What is it? Why we are doing this experiment? Because in our Indian knowledge system, we know that when in embryonic evolution, what comes first? Right? Like for example, there is a description where mouth comes first, then the smell, and then the varieties of last is the skin. Right? So this kind of evolution has already been described in our literature. So we are trying to see that how our perceptual space is evolving in embryonic state. Right? And we want to verify that what is there in our literature is actually true. And that experiment we are trying to do here. So we stop here. So this was something we were doing during the COVID time while at IIT Kanpur. So just to summarize what we started saying, the mental health has become a pandemic and taking the shape of pandemic. We all need to be careful how you have to change or make a change in your lifestyle I told you, whatever you do, have some satsanga, some meditation, some physical work in terms of community service, organic farming, Gosala Seva, or adopt some kind of practices like dance, singing. These are all necessary, right? And there are unlimited research in this direction. I showed you the music impact, the cognitive Hare Krishna Mahamantra based cognitive behavior therapy impact on varieties of ailing problems. And I also showed you varieties of foundational problems that all of us we can take up. And they will lead to the development of holistic science and technology. Thank you. Any questions?
Please raise your hand if you have a question.
Sir, I'm a student of yoga and I've been practicing for the past few years. So, he says that tatrasthitau yatkam bhyasa and sadhu dirghakala vedantari satkara sehitu dilabhum. So, I've been trying to, I have a background in both psychology and cognitive science, doing some research in the Department of Cognitive Science here. Mental health problems have become such a great problem that in most of the IITs, some tragedies are happening. But this is very sad because our nation has a long history of promoting positive health, not just treating disease. The Western model with its capitalism and huge pharma business, they are very much interested that people should become depressed after buying their cell phones and looking at it, so that they will go and eat some pizza and coke, and then they will take the antidepressant. But I strongly believe, I just did a thesis on related to this. Okay, particular yogic practices can be thought of as methods of modulating your biology. Okay, you can ensure that certain changes are there, myokines are released, endorphins, enkephalins are released. And meditation, now these Western people, they have come and taken mindfulness and all these things and they are selling it over there. Then why we should not focus on this and try to solve the problems of our people using our science and technology? That is the main thing, sir. Sir, I am requesting over here, I have personally gone through many hardships, but I have greatly benefited from yoga. Every day if I do yoga in the morning, I can work for 8 hours, 9 hours. It should be made compulsory. Positive psychology and yoga should be made compulsory for any student who is coming into our life. And sir, if you permit, so this is a question that I am having. I am not able to understand two things. How to explain this reincarnation, the studies by Division of Perceptual Studies, Dr. Ian Stevenson, claims of reincarnation. If there is no soul, scientists say that there is no soul, then how to explain it? That is one thing. Another thing, is it matter or is it consciousness? That this is, like I want to do some research in this with an applied focus. So if you will kindly shed some light, because the physics, classical physics of Newton and all this thing, it's a kind of materialism. But when it comes to quantum physics and quantum tunneling and entanglement, and ultimately the Nobel Prize was awarded, how can particles interact when they are very separated by a long distance? So what is the role that consciousness is playing during the orchestrated objective reduction, the OR, that Roger Penrose sir has described? If you can throw some light, and I would request you for some time, I will come and meet you, sir, personally.
Thank you. So we will discuss in person, right? But I have already told that we must carry out this kind of research. We should not simply think about our own heritage, because Westerners are appreciating it. We must learn how to appreciate our own knowledge body. Yes.
हेलो सर मेरे को आपका ये रिसर्च इंटरेस्टिंग तो लग रहा है, लेकिन मैं सिविल बैकग्राउंड से हूँ एमटेक में, तो क्या मैं कुछ योगदान कर सकता हूँ सर? लाइक मेरे को अगर इसमें आपके जैसे काम करना है मेरे को आगे कुछ रिसर्च के लिए, तो कर सकता हूँ?
Yes, you can surely do. Why not?
मतलब कैसे करेंगे? मतलब एमटेक में तो इन लोग ऑलरेडी इतना
That's fine. You discuss with me. Right? Yes.
Any more questions? Please raise your hand.
Hello, good evening sir. It was a great speech from you, and as most of the students are here and it is a stress pandemic going on everywhere. So I was thinking one question while I was cycling here, like is the loneliness actual issue or it's feeling loneliness that's the actual issue among the youngsters? Because we can see we are so much connected, we have like 10,000 students here. Still I can guarantee that if 3,000 students are feeling alone. So is self-wellness and self-consciousness like fighting through all these demons or accepting them, or what's the point where we are failing? Like I can say that a part of loneliness will always be there in life. You can. So how to go through that?
Good question. You say loneliness. You need loneliness to introspect, isn't it? When I meditate, but that's not loneliness. You are with yourself. Loneliness is when you are not with yourself and you are feeling that nobody is also with you. That's the emptiness. We need to recognize this. So, great philosophers, they always, they were loners. But although they were loners, they were thinking about the world. And they produced the great piece of work for the benefit of everyone. That's when you are in touch with yourself. So yoga means to be connected to the root. That's missing. But what I wanted to convey the message today is that we should also, we are doing varieties of research work. Let's do the research that our system has created a lot of literature. Okay, and let's take a pride. You see, the Chinese medicine has become a universal medicine. Why? Because if you go to China, you won't find any allopathy hospital. No allopathy form of medication. It's all Chinese. Why in India we neglected Ayurveda? In fact, suppose you are given a choice to pursue Ayurveda or allopathy, what do you pursue? You pursue allopathy. This is not that simple. I'll tell you one example. We are working with a doctor, Dr. Suvasi. He has cured many patients suffering from aplastic anemia. Aplastic anemia is a disease where your blood platelet counts goes down. Every 3 days, 5 days, fresh blood has to be infused. Right? And the only solution according to allopathy is that you have to have a bone marrow transplant. Normally, this facility is not there in India. So those who have crores in their bank balance, they can go to London or similar big cities where these facilities are there. But it's not guaranteed that you will be cured overnight. Right? But in this case, this particular Ayurveda doctor has cured these patients, giving only 3 things: Amla Giloy ras, and Neem ras. Can you imagine? Are they possible? They are available everywhere. In a Neems, is that your search? Your campus has, IIT Kanpur campus has full of neem trees. Right? Giloys are there everywhere. Right? And Amla. There is Amla Bhatt in IIT campuses. So you get them and apply. So, and yes, you are many reasons. So, we need to do research also. We need to learn how to value our own tradition. Yes, when you don't value your tradition, gets corrupt. There are a lot of corruption in our varieties of tradition. Right? Like, for example, if you go to Uttarakhand and Himachal Pradesh, you know, somebody behaves very abnormally, then people say, Devta uske upar sawar. It's ridiculous. ऐसा करने से देवता सवार हो जाता है. That happens because you didn't actually give importance to your tradition in a scientific way. So a lot of corruption has happened. So that's why we have to revisit our tradition, understand the scientific values, and throw away rotten apples and keep the good apples. It's also necessary. Okay? So is that fine? You are. Yes. You can discuss with me. Yes. Yes. Positive.
But my question is like whenever I suppose generally when people contemplate on their childhood memories, they feel happy. Whenever people are contemplating on their childhood memories, they feel happy. It's based on body, right?
Yes.
So
That's temporary. When you go through a stress, you try to contemplate on your childhood life. It will not make you happy.
for example, sir, if I was in a situation before and in my childhood, and suppose my mother helped me out of it, I remember that thing. So if that will make me a positive.
That's a gratitude. You are feeling the gratitude for your mother.
That is one way helping me.
No, that's a positive. That's a positive. I told you a principle, axiomatic principle of contemplating. For example, all of you are alert now. In more than 1 year, 1 hour lecture discourse, you are all alert, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Why? Because we discussed something, how to contemplate on yourself. Not in depth, but somewhere, right? Derive lot of things. And this has a positive value for a longer period of time. Right? For example, you eat a rasgulla and you will enjoy. But eat 10 rasgulla, you will go to the toilet 10 times. Right? But more you contemplate on yourself, much better you become. Okay? You will not. You don't have to go to the toilet frequently. Yes.
Sir, in the starting of the talk,
Ah.
in the starting of the talk, you have mentioned some of the reasons, the major reasons why people go into the mental illness, and you have also told some stories like how some people came to some masala and lived with a certain schedule. But when we go to the job, like this is not generally happens. we have to work according to the things which has mentioned. Sometimes we have to work in night also, and the shifts, sometimes shift changes for the people. Like there are sometimes also there is reason that if someone want to wake up in the morning and these things are, but they can't do because of these certain circumstances. So how they can overcome